Okay, let's talk about something that's on a lot of our minds. How do we keep our gardens, our vegetable patches, actually producing food when the summers just seem to be getting hotter and drier? Well, today we're going to dig into a really simple but honestly powerful framework to help you build a garden that can really handle what's coming.
For so many of us, the whole dream of growing our own food is why we even start gardening. But let's be real, the reality lately has been hitting a little different, hasn't it? It feels like the old rules just don't really work anymore.
So let me just ask you, does this sound familiar? You put in all this work, you do everything right, but come 3 o'clock in the afternoon, your plants just look sad and defeated. If that's you, trust me, you are not alone. This frustration, this is the new normal for gardeners everywhere.
Yeah, the dream is always this picture of lush, overflowing baskets of produce. But the climate reality, it's often wilted, stressed out plants. A hobby that was supposed to be relaxing suddenly feels like a frustrating uphill battle. Our traditional, thirsty veggie patches just aren't built for this. It's a constant test of what horticulturalist Graeme Farrer calls the soil sponge. The soil's basic ability to just hold on to water. But what if the answer wasn't just dumping more water on everything? What if it was about better timing? It turns out your plants have their own internal clock, and learning how to work with it is pretty much the secret weapon for harvesting the best flavor and building resilience.
And this brings us to this really cool scientific idea, the diurnal cycle. Honestly, the easiest way to picture it is like a plant's nightly recharge. So while we're sleeping, our plants are working hard. They stop losing moisture through their leaves, and instead, they basically turn into a straw, sucking water up from the soil to rehydrate every single cell. They are literally plumping themselves up for the day ahead.
And this chart shows you exactly what that looks like. You can see it right there. Early in the morning, after that full night of recharging, a plant's hydration and its flavor are at their absolute peak. But by midday, after hours of sun beating down on it, those levels have totally tanked. And that, right there, is why a lettuce leaf you pick in the afternoon is limp and kind of bitter. You're basically harvesting a tired, thirsty plant.
So how do we actually use this knowledge? Well, lucky for us, Graeme Farrer has come up with this brilliantly simple, super easy to remember framework. It's a 1-2-3 action plan for getting it right, no matter the climate.
And here it is. It's so simple. 1 big structural focus, 2 key maintenance wins, and 3 climate hero plants to build your garden around. It's a plan that breaks down this big idea of resilience into stuff you can actually do. So let's dive into that first structural focus. Okay, your 1 big change is what Farrer calls the dawn harvest protocol. And the action is as simple as it sounds. Get out there and pick everything before 8 a.m. That's it. By doing that, you're grabbing the plant when its cells are packed with water and sugars, which gives you that incredible supermarket crisp quality, but right from your own backyard.
Now for our first maintenance win. This is all about mulch, specifically straw. Just spreading a good layer of straw around plants like your squash or strawberries does 3 amazing things at once. It actually reflects the sun's heat away, it keeps the roots cool, and it lifts the fruit up off that hot soil, which stops that dreaded bottom rot.
And hey, for all of us who garden in containers, here's maintenance win number 2, double potting. It's so clever. You just put your regular plant pot inside a slightly larger one, and you fill that gap with something like damp sand or compost. This creates a thermal buffer, an insulation layer, that stops the roots from literally cooking on a hot afternoon. This is an absolute game changer for thirsty plants like tomatoes.
So, we've changed our timing, we've boosted our maintenance game. Now for part 3 of the plan, picking the right players for the team. We're going to look at 3 amazing climate hero plants, starting with our number 1 staple.
All right, first up is our drought-proof staple. Forget spinach. Spinach just gives up at the first sign of a heat wave. The real MVP of leafy greens is Swiss chard.
So what makes chard so incredibly tough? Well, for one, it has these deep roots that go searching for water. Plus, its thick stems act like little canteens, storing moisture for a hot day. And the big one, it doesn't bolt, go to seed, in the heat, which means it will just keep giving you fresh new leaves all the way through the driest parts of summer. Next up, we've got a plant that doesn't just put up with the heat, it actually loves it. It's the good old zucchini or courgette, depending on where you are.
The zucchini is just a brilliant example of a plant that takes care of itself. Once it gets established, its own gigantic leaves create a living mulch, shading the ground and keeping its own roots cool. You add a little straw mulch to help it out, and it will give you a ridiculous amount of food in the hottest weather with barely any extra water from you.
And finally, for all you fruit lovers, our third hero is a very specific type of raspberry,
the autumn fruiting kind, like the variety Autumn Bliss. Now this is a really smart strategic move. By picking a variety that fruits in the fall, you completely sidestep the worst of those early summer droughts. These types also fruit on fresh, new growth from this year, which makes them way tougher and more resilient to the crazy, unpredictable spring weather we seem to be getting now.
So when you put it all together, the timing, the maintenance tricks, and picking the right plants, you're doing so much more than just growing food. You're creating a whole new way to garden, one that actually works with nature instead of constantly fighting against it. And I think this quote from Graeme Farrer just says it all perfectly. The goal isn't just about having a full basket at the end of the day. It's about making sure your garden stays a place of joy and nourishment, something that feeds your stomach and your soul, even when the weather gets tough.
So, what's the one thing to take away from all this? Just try it. Set your alarm just 30 minutes earlier one day this week. Go out into that quiet morning garden, pick something, and just taste the incredible difference it makes. Really, what could be a more resilient way to start your day than that?